With the S&P 500 officially entering bear market territory this week, we thought we'd help answer the question we get quite frequently: what should we do now? So, a question investors understandably have in the midst of market volatility, particularly when the headlines scream about the onset of a bear market, is what do we do? What do we do now? Want to talk a little bit about where that question comes from, really how we think about it and frame it up, and then hopefully some positive mental mindsets to be able to take away from the video. Number one, again, what should we do? It's a very natural question. It's one we get. It's one we certainly want our clients to reach out to us with when they're feeling it. But it's important to ask, what is really behind the question? What is really being asked when one brings that up? Before we get to that, we're going to talk about the why. Maybe you're a reader of behavioral finance, someone into the inner workings of how an investor's mind works, not just how markets work. And if you are, then you know, certainly when it comes to investing, but a whole host of other things in your life, when you're put under a tremendous amount of strain and emotion, we're just hardwired physiologically, psychologically to feel the need to act. Of course, one of the biggest reasons for this, and certainly applicable in a lot of situations, i.e. my hands on the stove, is I'm in an uncomfortable position and I need to do something to alleviate the uncomfortable position. Well, when your hand's on that stove, it's really a one variable type thing. Hand on the stove, hand off the stove. And so it is time to act and you're there for it. However, our bodies, our minds instinctually don't really distinguish between singular or maybe one or two variable type problems and multivariable problems. And so that's where trouble really comes in is, yes, you want to act, but when you get into those multivariable type issues, certainly like the stock market, the global economy, you alone may not be the variable that needs to change or can change to alleviate the situation. And in fact, as is often the case with investing, most of the time when people act, study after study has shown, they act in the wrong way, whether that's getting too greedy or too fearful, and they end up creating an even worse situation than what existed to begin with. So, what is behind this question? What should we do now? Well, of course, there's part of that's the why. But then the other thing is, what are you wanting to do? When most people ask, of course, what they're trying to get at, and thus the title of this week's commentary, The Boat in the Storm, is can you make it stop? I'm seasick from this boat rocking back and forth. I'm getting wet. I'm taking on. Can you change the weather? Can you help alleviate this immediate pain, the volatility, the red on my monitor screen if you're logging in to look at daily stock fluctuations? And the answer to that question, unfortunately, is no. We try to be upfront with clients up front. We can't predict the weather, can't predict the markets, can't change the weather, can't change markets. And so the what should we do now? Is there anything you can do to change the weather? Part of that question is something simply that we have to accept is something beyond our control. Too many variables. The things that we would lead to try to do, timing the weather, timing the markets, would likely put us in a worse situation than if we just stayed where we're at. The second part of that, though, responds to the boat. So we're in this storm, we're getting wet, the boat's rocking side to side. Another part behind that question is, am I going to drown? Is my portfolio going to drown? Is my plan going to drown? And to that, the answer can be no. And there's a lot we can do, mostly in advance, to help make sure that you're okay. And so to this question, what we remind clients time and time again is, number one, what we should have done are the things we've already done to get in advance. We've prepped for this storm. We've made sure our ship, our vessel is storm ready because we knew these storms are inevitably gonna happen. They're gonna come up, and we need to prepare not just for the sunny times, the great markets where there's green on the screen and great gains to be enjoyed, but for these very challenging markets to make sure, again, that ship is ready and we know how to change course appropriately. And so to this, we would say, when we look at what we should do now, well, are there any leaky boards, right? Just because a stock fund or the stock market's down doesn't mean it's broken. This is the inevitable volatilities, but is there anything fundamentally unsound? From time to time, we'll make some pivots, but again, it's about the planks that are making up this board far more than weather, where we want to keep concerned. So when we're telling clients, this is a situation where we need to stay the course. It's not because we're trying to spout some cliche that the industry gives out. It's because we've prepped in advance. Things like we've talked about time and time again, particularly for those people who have abbreviated time horizons. Hey, this is why we're generating a lot of income, the provisions on our ship, if you will, so that when the storms rock in, when it's going to take a little bit longer to get to that destination, i.e. that price point in the S&P 500, our vessels sound worthy, our positions can get through these things with high quality stocks, bonds, real estate, but also our provisions are set. We've got that income streaming in so that if our journey is a little bit longer to whatever destination we hope to achieve, we're still going to be able to make it. We don't need to feel rushed, panicked into doing something that would be rash. I think the reason some people get really nervous, hopefully not our clients, outside again, nobody likes the volatility, the rocking of the ship, is that they know that the vessel that they got onto is not ready for this storm. When the sun's out and the wind's going fast, getting on that little sleek sailboat and zipping across the water to whatever destination you hoped, looks like the right course of action. Then the waves start to come about, clouds start to come in, the winds pick up. For our clients, of course, what we want to do in a myriad of ways, from planning to risk assessments, is make sure that our boat certainly can make good progress during the sunny times, but is going to stay resilient and keep them afloat during the tough times. But again, that's all about preparation in advance. In summary, times like this are hard. If you're feeling queasy in your stomach, it's totally natural. If you're feeling like, man, I wish I had someone to call, we're here for you all the time. To those of you who are clients, again, please reach out. We're here to walk through why we have confidence in those planks that are making up these ships. We're helping get you and your family to your destination. But again, be honest with yourself about what is the question? What am I hoping to do? What can I control? What variables are really within my command? And don't do anything rash. Not to be indiscreet or inappropriate, but you can hop out of the boat. And the bottom of the ocean is a less volatile, tranquil place. But that's exactly the place you're trying to avoid getting in the first place. Stay in the boat, make sure that boat's sound. Hopefully you've got some great shipmates and a captain helping you on that journey. And for those of you who have chosen us to play that role, we can't thank you enough. Thanks so much.